Greetings, welcome to another video, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Now, this is not really a continuation from the previous video, okay? But there's actually words I spoke in that video that reminded me of a moment, okay? Of a moment of realizing how understanding is such a rare thing, especially when you're walking in this um a spiritual journey, when you're walking God's path, okay? And in the last video there was where I said God said he will wake you up from the dead, right? And the other day when I was in the car and I was listening to the radio, okay? And as I'm listening to the radio, these guys are having a conversation, and it's almost as if that I think they were preaching. I think they were preaching, yeah. And one guy actually mentioned that one day, mentioned these words like, one day God is gonna wake us all, he's gonna wake all of us up from the dead, right? And the way he said it, I could tell from what place he said that from, okay? Which it was obvious that he understood that verse from this physical perspective, from the physical point of view. And I actually smiled to it because I also used to be there, right? I also used to. I actually didn't understand what he means, but he will wake us up from the dead. Like I had a hard time trying to understand how, okay? Because I knew these words before I had a certain level of understanding, right? And I used to ask myself, what does God mean when he said he will wake us up from the dead, and how? Because when we die, our bodies get buried 6 feet underground, right? And our bodies decompose, right? So I was wondering, if our bodies get buried, get thrown into a coffin, and get buried underground, how is he gonna wake us up, right? Like, I was trying to understand this. Now, you see, understanding these words from the physical point of view, you would almost think, I see why a lot of people sometimes tend to give up when it comes to the word of God. Okay, it's because they are not really understanding it from the physical. I mean, they're understanding it from the physical point of view, but not the spiritual point of view, right? Because some of these things physically they're just impossible. Okay, they're just way impossible. You know, because I remember also when I was when I came across these words that God said that he will wake us up from the dead. Okay? And I had a hard time, ladies and gentlemen, to try understand how is he gonna wake us up from the dead because our bodies are gonna be underground. And there's a whole lot of people who have passed away and been passing away for a long time. Okay, like, is it that all of a sudden we're gonna see the ground break and those decomposed bodies coming back to, now in the world we're living in, it just sounds impossible, right? Even if science was to try and figure out how can that be possible, I mean, I doubt that they were gonna win, or they were gonna find how it could be done. I'm saying science because scientists have been in this roller coaster of trying to find out if some of the incidents or scenes of or experiences or things that are written off in the Bible are true. Like, scientists been trying to, you know, make some of these experiences in the Bible make sense and try see if indeed they happened, right? And it's obvious that they were coming from the physical point of view, from the physical perspective. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I understood what he means by he will wake you up from the dead. Now, you see, when you are living life as a human, you're just living life as human, right? Especially when God hasn't really waken you up to things of the spirit, haven't really given you understanding to understand things of the spirit. Now, coming from the spiritual perspective or point of view, looking into the physical side of it, you would say people are like spiritually dead, right? Because they don't have understanding to the spirit. Okay, that's what even the scriptures say themselves. Like, you're just living life because you are breathing, right? You're not living because you truly understand spiritually who you are, and spiritually what's your purpose. Okay, now when you just live life physically, spiritually you're dead because you don't have any understanding to what's going on in the spirit. Now, when you're dead spiritually, you do things like somebody who's dead spiritually. Okay. Now, this is what the Bible meant by you be living amongst the living dead. Okay. Because they're dead in spirit, but alive physically. And mind you, these people don't even know this, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like they know that, nah, spiritually, I'm actually dead. I'm just walking because I can breathe and think for myself, and you know, it's not like they possess that understanding. No, they don't. Just that they don't believe. That's the thing, right? And it's even deep because you even find people who are going to church who are not really awake spiritually. Now, I believe by now you understand what I'm trying to say. That when he said, I'll wake you up from the dead, he wasn't talking about literally, physically waking us up, right? From the cemeteries and all that. Nah, he actually meant spiritually because God is spirit, right? God is not physical. Like, you can't point at him and say, there's God over there, right? This is why we hear that he will operate through us through spirit. Okay. Now that's what he means by I'll wake you up from the dead. meaning he will wake your spirit up to see, to live, to see things of the spirit, to understand him because he's spirit, right? Now he's gonna wake you up, ladies and gentlemen, from the dead, and by the time you do wake up, it's going to be clear that you done woken up, because now there's gonna be war. But that's a topic for another video, because you're not really supposed to wake up, because this world is designed to kill your spirit, to keep your spirit asleep. It's designed to make you doubtful of things of the spirit. Okay? You think of things of the spirit, you think that myths, right? You think it's all a fairy tale. Okay? But anyway, that's a topic for another video. Stay prayed up, stay safe, peace.